Everyday superpower, we talk body language, relationships, game, everything in between. Yo, this one's for the men. I mean, arguably it could be for the women as well, but admire the sweaty pit for a second, people. Working hard, yes, been on my feet all day, and I've come first and foremost to speak to you lot. Isn't that a blessing, right? This is off of the back of the video I've done in regards to being an aggressive man, not a involuntary explosive man, but aggressive in the sense of being in complete concentration and pursuit in what you need before what you want. And I'm gonna talk about being a fearsome man. Let me tell you what I've written. I've said it's necessary. You have the capability of inciting some fear when needed. Yes, you're not going to get this game nowhere else. They're going to be like, oh, no, this is how you get the women. Oh. My brother. I learnt this lesson very, very early. Let me tell you something about me. When I was younger, I come from a particular environment where things were less than safe, yeah? I wasn't coddled and I wasn't brought up in an environment where I was bubble wrapped, yes? So being that child, moving on and engaging with other children, in schools, I started to develop independence and a character that was of my background, of my culture, of my roots, of how I was brought up. Not through choice, but through the situation. When I got into high school, we started to engage with children of other schools. Kids who didn't know you and kids who were slowly and surely starting to find independence through puberty and straying away from the relationship with the parent as to where they now have to make something of themselves. And I know not in the sense that you're a grown man and you have to find your own way, but in the sense that these very, very young men are now starting to become older as opposed to the children they once were. Not long after I joined, you run into so much, such as yourself. I think everyone has some degree of dealing with this, but this is where I first learned this lesson. At some point in the first year of me being there, some kids started picking on me and my friends, yeah? Now me, with the emotionally driven background I had, and knowing no better because I wasn't a conscious, intelligent being, I was a young boy. At one point, I had enough. And through an explosive act of response to these boys who were picking on me, I realised they don't do it no more. Did I take a blade and stab them? No. I didn't. But some can do that. So that's why you need to look after the kids and ensure that they have their heads screwed on. Unfortunately, some parents don't know the signs, right? I was very fortunate to not take a route where I ended up in a bad place due to me fighting back when I got put against the wall. So, through understanding straight away that those who picked on me, first and foremost, weren't the big men they were portraying themselves out to be. And the moment that I actually stood up for myself, they shut the hell up. This is every bully, by the way. Every bully needs to test you to see where they stand in the pecking order. It comes from a position of insecurity, right? It comes from a position of insecurity. Because if you are understanding in oneself and confident and calm, what does it matter about the next person? But they need to prove to themselves and their frail ego that they are of worth. And in the man's world, that is to be above and pedestalized above the next man. And then the moment you as the bully poke the person who fights back, oh shit, I didn't expect that response. Most people don't give me that response. And you've proven to me that you're not frightened of the most frightening demeanor and masking I've applied to myself. When I say you need to be able to incite fear, this isn't from a position of you being the bully and having to incite fear in others. This is through being the recipient of somebody who pokes at you, garnering a response as to which they don't want to do it again. When the fox, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know how these animals interact, but I assume this is the manner of which. When the dog runs up to the hedgehog to bite the hedgehog, and the hedgehog raises its spikes in defense as a biological defensive mechanism, suddenly that dog doesn't or can't bite into that hedgehog no more because it's going to get pricked and it's going to get hurt. Even if that dog kills that hedgehog, right? The idea of hurting oneself in the process of going forth and doing whatever needed to be done to that hedgehog, it's not worth it no more. And I say that to apply that in the sense that if you stood up for yourself and got into a scuffle of sorts, and you didn't win the scuffle, but you stood up and fought for yourself, and they came back with a nick and some degree of harm, even though they've done it once, they know you're ready to fight back. Might not be the same next time. You need to apply this metaphorically across the board. Not purely physically, but through your business relationships, through your workplace relationships, through your family relationships. If you've got an uncle who, since you were young, always used to make snide remarks about who you are, what you look like, where you're going, and so forth. Not a personal story, but I say that purely as far as a family context, this might be the case. Who you're dating, what you're interested in. If you've got a man who has always done this from a position of being a bully, the moment you turn around and say, stop doing that, he will. And the thing is, this incitement of fear is a powerful political tool that political entities utilize to ensure people stay in line. And the way it works on this microcosm within the family, within the friendship group, within your reputation as a whole, people who know that you stood up to the next person, people who know that you might have had a fight in your past, people who know that in the world of business you're more than content being aggressive, you're more than happy to lose money on solicitors whether you win or not because you're up for the competition. People are going to stop playing with you. People are going to stop playing with you. People are going to stop playing with you. I say it like an order. If there's somebody you don't know who can't play with you like that, and they say something to you which could be taken as offensive or you perceive as a power play, they might be doing it unconsciously, right? Generally speaking, most of this is unconscious. The way they speak to you might be how they speak to their friends, but to you, they don't know you like that. So why are you calling me a name like that? Why are you laughing at my attire? Why are you making a joke about my shoes like that? Right? They say it once. Water for ducks back. I'm not laughing, but all right, yeah. What do you think? Do you know what I mean? I'll take it literally. I won't join the joke because we're not sitting here laughing about me like that because I don't know you like that. Second time they do it, they push you a little bit more. Expand the boundary, push the boundary. See how far they can go. Second time, you say, don't do that. Don't worry about it. Third time, there shouldn't be a third time. But the moment that gets to the third time, you need to look at them and say, no, we don't do that. Who do you think you are? You need to be able to incite fear. You need to be. Through reputation, yes, but as far as your background is concerned, and let me tell some personal stories. Where do we go? I know a guy. He was cunning. He was Machiavellian. He was a horrible, horrible man. And he was a very old man in comparison to me. 30 years my elder, right? But he was educated. He was military trained. He strategized. And he was a cold-blooded psychopath. And he used to try to threaten me each and every day through different means, trying to evoke some degree of emotional response. And the moment we had a discussion in regards to literature, and he found out I read so much of the same literature he did, within the realms of military strategy and within the realms of the human brain, the psyche and psychology, he couldn't help 2 weeks down the line get stressed when I didn't respond to him in an emotional manner and says, "Oh, what you smiling at? I know the books you read, blah, blah, blah." Where did that come from? Where did that come from? Are you fearful through the fact that I can see through who you are and the mask you're portraying and I'm not falling for it? You need to be able to incite fear because it works. Is it going to help you make friends? No, we're not utilizing it as a tool to make friends, but we're utilizing it as a tool to ensure we as men are safe. And if you're in the realm of dating and relationships and attraction, you need to be that man, because she doesn't want a spineless idiot who gets walked all over. As somebody who is more than happy to play my part in a submissive role, given that it allows things to run smooth and I'm not getting taken advantage of, I'm more than happy to play that position. And if you say, "Oh, I'm red-pilled, bro, I never do the submissive thing," bro, trust me, whether you like it or not, there's a duality, yin and yang dynamic to who you are. You can't be in pimp position 24 hours a day. If you're wanting to actually strive for success, at some point you need to cater for the people through one way or another. You need to put yourself in the salesman position, in the trick position, in order to appease the system. Yes? I'm so red-pilled, I'm a pimp. Yeah, alright, but the platform you use is YouTube, so someone's pimping you and making advertisement revenue off of your content and your product. Do you see this game? Nobody's up there at the top, it's dynamic. YouTube gives you a telling off if you say the wrong thing, or you promote the wrong product, or you break their rules. They incite fear in those who are supposedly fearless by saying, "We'll take you off of the platform. We'll stop you having a voice." Blah, 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 blah. Right? You think, well, YouTube aren't these big bullies, and YouTube are, perceived as these powerful Goliath entities. But no, they still have a means of utilizing and inciting fear and giving you a slap on the wrist first and foremost before kicking your ass out of the door if they deem necessary. This is where you need to be. Of course. Of course. The moment you stand up to your uncle who's always taking the piss and you say, "No, we don't play them games no more," especially if you're in front of other people, they're going to see you and say, "Whoa, he stood up." I don't see that often because I live in a society where a man stands up for himself. That's inappropriate. That's aggressive. That's rude. Do you see? You will be ridiculed outside of your social communication. They'll run 5 miles away and then ridicule you, right? They won't do it to your face. Never do it to your face. Never do it around you. Never do it where it will get back to you. But they'll run 5 miles away and start ridiculing you out of fear because you make them feel insecure via the fact you stand up for yourself and they don't and they can't. And they deem it inappropriate and feel validated by the fact that they say, "You're toxic. You're so toxic for standing up for yourself and looking after yourself. Oh my God, can you believe he kicked that guy in the head to look after his children, to protect his children? I can't believe it." Do you know what I mean? I'm not advocating for violence, but I'm saying you need to be able to incite the potential and the possibility of putting someone in their place when needs be. Your woman is, I'm not saying incite fear in your lady, but she needs to understand there is a protocol you must abide by, that when she pushes a boundary too far in the wrong direction, you have to say, "No, we don't do that, love. You're going to have to come back here in this comfortable boundary." We're not pushing them further and further. We're not doing that. We don't play these games. I will incite fear in the way that I will walk out of this relationship and leave you. Goodbye. You now have to find someone who you do have to push the boundaries, who you can push the boundaries with. Some soft, spineless slug of a man who you don't end up respecting because he allows that to happen. I'm putting you on game. Click like and subscribe. Peace.